I'm rereading a series of books that I read when I was young. And it is unbelievable how, for me, they tell the story of what's going on right now. And the lovely way that the author does it, even though they're books definitely for children, it's a very non-insulting way. Like a kid has to read up to this level. And I really love books that don't insult the intelligence of a child. And so basically, book one is looking at the real evil that is in the world and how we each are put here specifically to wage our own battle, to be our small part of the solution or not. And I would say that if you're not an active part of the solution, you're really probably a passive part of the problem, because you're not making that declaration to stand up and be part of the solution. Then the second book goes literally cellular. And it's the beautiful idea that in order to contribute, you need to heal. And I'm talking cellularly, spiritually, all your trauma, your stories, so you can get out of your own fucking way and do what you're here to do. And then the third book, there's 5, but the first 3 really are the ones that speak to me. And I'll link the stories below, is healing the generational wound. So now you've done a lot of work to see exactly where you are on this planet, do some work to discover what you're here to do. Then you go within for healing and for transformation and remembering who you really are, because that's the trick of society, right? Because when you're a child, you know exactly who you are. And then all of this bullshit of society, family responsibility, whatever we lay some on ourselves, we've got to strip that away. I akin it to a sculptor where you've got to take away the pieces that don't, like a sculptor in stone, they're taking away what doesn't belong. And that's the real genius of working in stone, because you can't add it back. But you have to eliminate what's keeping you constrained in that block of marble. And then the third one is, with that deeper healing and continued work, you are actually going to retroactively heal your generational family, your ancestors. You will release this stored family trauma, some of which you carry, and maybe you were put here to fix it. Going back and going forward, your generations, your children, their children, their children they'll have their own burdens and they'll have their own things to clear, but they won't have that added burden that you've worked to clear yourself. And again, I always say, we don't ever rid ourselves of our burdens completely, but we don't let them run us around either. So these 3, the way the book lays out these phases, I think is just miraculous. And it's told in this beautiful fantasy, not science fiction, more fantasy, mythological type of epic journey, because of course we are all on a hero's journey, but identifying where you are is very useful. So today I ask you, maybe in the next couple of days, I'll talk about the hero's journey and the certain steps that you take at each phase, and the thresholds that you cross, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, right? So the hero's journey never ends. There's both the overarching hero's journey of your life, and then there's the micro journey of your adventures or your healing or whatever it is that particular grail is that you're searching for. So today, what I ask you to do is in those 3 phases, where are you? Are you taking stock of where you are right this moment? A real honest stock of the lies you tell and the stories you've been telling and what's yours and what's not yours? Are you in the phase of healing where you have identified your stories, but now you need to go within and really, it takes a lot. It's a lot of process work, and I would suggest that it needs to be done in community. Or are you to the point where you are contributing, you are not letting your stories run you around, and you are on your hero's journey's path. You know where you are, and now your work is to both it's dual. It's to bring your gifts into the world, and by doing that, you will heal your answers and your ancestors and generational wounds. So out of those 3 stages, I challenge you to ask where you are now. And later in the week, I will talk about kind of like the individual steps within the hero's journey wheel. And so that's where it comes up for me today. I go between 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I have identified most of my trauma. I work constantly on healing it. It's something that is ever, it's a stage of evolution. I contribute, I work to heal not just me, but do my part in the world and thereby heal my ancestral wound. But then, of course, I'm not back to number 1, number 2, number 3, number 2, number 3, number 1. Because that is the beauty of our humanity, makes us relearn those lessons again and again. So that is what has come up for me this morning, and I will see you tomorrow.